Welcome back to another episode of Passing Me Pod. I'm your host, Dominic, of course, joined by my co-host, Aaron. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, bro. How you?
Good, man. Good. Obviously, had a good week in football this week. European football back with the Champions League back, and some big games around Europe in general that we're going to get into. But start at home in the Premier League. Start with Man United versus Aston Villa. 2-1 win. Three wins in the Premier League in a row now for us for the first time this season, I believe. Going away to Villa, getting a 2-1 win is a good result. Um, Obviously now that's the double over them. I think overall, looking at the performance, it was I don't know, it was an interesting one because you've got a lot of people talking about how obviously we've got the job done. We got a big win over one of the top six rivals. It closes the gap on them and us, obviously in the top four. But on the other hand, you have people looking at the kind of performance as a whole. It wasn't the most controlled game. We kind of rushed things, gave the ball away kind of cheaply, and it created kind of like an end-to-end game. We scored quite early through Hoyland. That's five in his last five in the Prem, really kicking on. So that's good for us to see. And like the first 5 minutes, we started well. We were controlling the opening stage of the game. And after that, I don't know, it just became more of an end-to-end game as we tried to kind of push forward. Um, Ten Hag said something in a press conference that he said at one what we kept trying to go every single time, and
Yeah.
there was a clip circling Twitter kind of around. Well, it was basically the way we're playing throughout the game, and you could see that every time essentially when there was an opportunity to go forward and exploit Villa's high line, we were trying to take that chance. And I'd say probably 8 times out of 10 it was the right decision, but there are a couple times where we're kind of giving the ball away cheaply, and then we're out of position, and Villa are coming at us quickly, and attacking us through the middle. They did well to kind of exploit the space between like our fullbacks and our midfielders, getting into those like wide channels to exploit us. And yeah, it did look a bit hairy for a second when they equalized because they kind of had the momentum on their side. But Scott McTominay, winner, seems to be cash money for us this season. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's his seventh goal in the league this season. He's our top Premier League goal scorer for sure. And I
Yeah.
saw a stat somewhere that said that he'd earned us 12 points from winners overall this season. And me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of McTominay, at least from the start anyway. I feel like when he starts, regardless of what role it is, it's kind of detrimental to the team. Like if he's in the pivot and he's tasked with building up, he's not the best. He's not the most comfortable in build up, receiving the ball with back to pressure and things like that. And then obviously looking for progressive passes is not really his strong suit. And then if you play him further forward, like Ten Hag kind of has at some points this season, you're pushing Bruno deeper and you're losing that creativity in the final third.
Yeah.
But I think if you're bringing him on when we need a goal in situations like this, when he can kind of just crash the box, and he almost has like complete attacking freedom, to be honest. When he comes off the bench in these situations, it's just like Hoyland's in the box, go and find the space that's available because the defenders will be occupying him, and that's what he did. It was a good ball forward. I can't remember who the ball forward was by. Mainly did well to kind of get the ball out of his feet. Dallo with a great
My,
first time for us,
yeah.
and yeah, we're going. Obviously, we hung on to the end to get the victory. And yeah, I don't know. I think overall it's a bit weird because people are like, okay, yeah, you're getting the victory, but you should be playing better than this. But at the same time, I'm kind of thinking like this is a it's a new way that Ten Hag is trying to play this season, compared to last season. And he's been saying that, once we get our players back, we get our players fit, we're going to be a better team. And I think we're just kind of seeing the teething issues with that. Obviously, it's not the best that we're kind of going through this in February. You'd think that, okay, second season, if you're going to change up the style of play, you get these teething issues out of the way in the first couple weeks of the season. Um, but due to injuries and whatnot, we kind of had our progression pushed back a bit. But yeah, I don't know. Still, for me, I think I want to see more of a controlled style of play. I know that's not necessarily what Ten Hag is going for with him wanting us to be the best transition team in the world, or whatever. But against West Ham, we did well in transitions, but we also slowed the game down to control it and keep possession. And I think we kind of need to find the blend between that um, going forward to make us more solid in these games. But yeah, what did you think of the game if you caught it?
I actually didn't catch it, you know. I only saw like I think I missed Hoyland's first goal, and then I seen like clips of the last two goals. So I
Yeah,
seen the Douglas Luiz, I think it was. He did that
yeah,
celebration. I seen that, and then I
yeah, bro.
seen
Just to lose.
yeah, I seen yeah the Manu keeping the ball and then letting Dallo whip it in for I think it's McTominay for that one of it. Yeah, I don't know. I think from what I see, I did see the interview that you mentioned about Ten Hag saying like I think you're like 1-0 up and you're just always going just like I
Yeah.
don't know. Do you think there's something deeper to that? Like would you say I don't know, maybe it's a reach and I don't think I wouldn't suggest it, but I think it's something to think about. Do you think that maybe it's because they think or the players themselves feel like 1-0 is not enough. We need to get the second goal to sort of put us a little bit more of a gap between us and them because maybe they don't feel like they're gonna hold on to the lead. Like for
Mm.
example, I don't know what the records like or the stats are like in terms of you guys like blowing leads and stuff like that. Like I don't know the stats for that, but do you feel like maybe it's just kind of like the feeling is that 1-0 is not enough. We need to do more because if not, we're gonna lose or we're gonna drop points. Do you think that that sort of plays on their mind at all? Or
I think it's an interesting one. Ten Hag, since he's come in, has kind of said that he wants us to be an attacking team, a front-footed team, um, the protagonist, if you like. But I think at points this season in the Champions League, especially, it's really cost us that when we've been up. I'm thinking particularly at Galatasaray, both games, home and away, we were winning in both of those games, and we just kind of kept going forward, and it just left loads of space for them to counter attack us, loads of gaps in midfield. Um, I'm not sure if it's necessarily because it's the 1-0 isn't enough thing because last season we had statistically we had the best defense in the league. De Gea won Golden Glove, obviously shared amongst the defense. I'm not putting that on De Gea himself.
yeah,
Lissandro, Casemiro, Varane played as much of a part, if not more, than De Gea in that Golden Glove. But I think I don't know. I feel like Ten Hag views us as a defensively solid team when we've got the right pieces in place. But I just think it's the way that he wants us to play. He wants us to keep going. He kind of I don't know the way he speaks. It's like he's bought into the Man United philosophy almost. Because if you look at the football that we play and the football that he played at Ajax, it's not the same. And that was a big thing early in the season. Um, when
yeah,
he said the quote about how he can't play the same way at Man United as he did at Ajax because the players are different and everything. And people
yeah.
were kind of there was a bit of uproar about, oh well, we brought you in to play the specific way and you're telling us you can't even do it. But I think he's looking at it like, well, this is how Man United play. This is the Man United DNA, if you will.
Yeah,
So this is how we want to play. I don't think I don't think he like I don't think that's necessary. Um, I don't feel like he has to play this way because he's Man United manager. I'm not one of the fans that feel like Man United have to play a certain way. At the end of the day, I just want my team to win. Do you know? I want my team to win, and I want the best players to play well and put up good performances, and I
yeah,
want I want our youth players to do well as well because that's one of the things I guess you could say United DNA that I do really care about. But I think in terms of that, I'm not too fussed about it. But I don't
yeah,
know. I feel like it's more just down to the culture of the club, and that's how we see that. And it's like, okay, this is how we want to play. And of course, you look at the kind of key pieces we have, right? If you look at Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes, probably our two best players over the past couple of seasons. They're both probably best suited to transition football, and in those situations, you are going to want them to get forward and in the final third as much as possible. So I don't know, but how do you view it? Obviously, you guys at City play a more controlled style. I'd assume that's kind of what you prefer in terms of the football.
Um, I don't know. I definitely prefer like the more controlled style that we play, and it's like I don't know. It's less sort of reliant on individuals. To be fair,
Mm,
like it's like I don't know. I feel like I definitely prefer our style of football. But one thing I did see someone mention on Twitter actually was that Ten Hag, they feel like Ten Hag at Ajax. Hmm, I don't know what the right word to use is, but it's not like he's a fraud, but like it's like what they were saying is basically the style of football that he played at Ajax isn't repeatable at a club like Man United right now because
mm,
he needs the best technicians to do it. Like he needs like
yeah,
Lissandro and Frankie De Jong and all this stuff. And basically what the person was saying in the tweet was that if you give Ten Hag all his players fit and then let him go and sign like Frankie De Jong, for example, or Kobe Minu, and you don't have players like Casemiro or Rashford or Bruno who aren't really suited to like possession football. I mean, you could probably still do it with like Rashford and Bruno, but like players like I don't know, like Varane, De Gea, McTominay, Casemiro, players like that
yeah,
who aren't really like the best on the ball. Like if you give if you get rid of those types of players and give Ten Hag the best technicians available, he will be able to reproduce like what he was doing at Ajax, the slick passing like
mm,
football. But it's like as soon as what the person was saying is that it's like as soon as he doesn't have them anymore, it just all goes out the window. He's like, nah, like we can't do it. So he
mm,
just kind of like gives up on it and says, let's just do what we can to try and get a result in every game. And it was a criticism of Ten Hag because they were comparing it to Ange in the tweet. And when Ange had
yeah,
all his centre backs out, he had no Romero through suspension, he had no Van de Ven, he had Madison out, he had Son at the I can't remember if this was when Storm was at the Asian Cup or not, but yeah, he just had a lot of players missing. I think Kulusevski was injured for a bit, and he still managed to keep the same. You could still see the identity. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And the criticism in that tweet was just that um, it feels like Ten Hag, unless he's got like Lissandro Martinez, he's like one of like like if I had to name like top five, top three ball playing centre backs, he's up there. Do you know what I mean? If
yeah.
it's not Lissandro Martinez, it's like Ten Hag can't play. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
What would you say about that? What do you think of that? Do you think that's like a valid criticism, or do you think it's a stretch?
I think to be honest, it's based on a bit of a misconception about Ten Hag that
Mm.
he's this like Ajax manager guy who's going to play 4-3-3, fluid like rotation, wingers wide, all that. If you really look at kind of Ten Hag's journey as a manager, um, you look at like his time at Utrecht and stuff like that. He was playing at times he was playing three at the back. Like he's more of a pragmatist than a I don't know what he's like, maybe like a football romantic, someone like De Zerbi or something,
Mm.
or Postecoglou who's going to stick to their principles. At the end of the day, I think Ten Hag wants to win football matches, and like he said that in his press conferences at Man United um, multiple times, and like his styles at different clubs have been different. Obviously, at Ajax, when you come to Ajax, you have the best technical players, at least in your division. Um, and you've
Yeah,
got some of the best youth, and the way they bring up their young players are all going to be technical. So you can play a more expansive style of football, and I guess that did allow him to do that. But I don't know if you can say necessarily that is the type of manager he is because he's done different things at different teams. At the end of the day, he does what he feels anyway is the most efficient thing to win games. And I
yeah,
think, I mean, obviously last season you kind of saw that we were a transition heavy team, and it worked well in parts of the season. To be fair, obviously had a few big moments, beat all the big six at home. Obviously qualified for the Champions League, had a good knockout tie at Barcelona, won the Carabao Cup, and I think now he's kind of trying to build on that and add a few more layers in terms of making it a bit more controlled, a bit better in terms of pressing, out of possession. So I don't know. It's interesting the way he's transitioning the team. Obviously, if he keeps getting results, he's gonna keep his job. Or at least I think so. If he can drag us into the top four, I reckon he probably keeps his job. Ineos probably let him go for another year to see kind of what he has. But I don't know. I feel like he's got a if he's going to continue with this style of play, like the results have to come. Do you know what I mean? Because
Mm.
I think it's a bit too. I don't know. At times it can be a bit volatile. Like it's not the most controlled. So it can be a bit worrying as a fan sometimes watching because it's like the game can turn and we're just conceding chances left, right, and center. So I don't know. It's definitely an interesting one with Ten Hag. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think he is just a pragmatist focused on winning. It's like you're gonna work with what he has and try and optimize that to the best of his ability or in the way that he feels anyway. So yeah, but moving on to our next game, obviously you've got Arsenal versus West Ham, 6-0 battering um at the Olympic Stadium, which I think for me this was a significant win for Arsenal because if you look at the back end of last season, this is a ground that they lost at when they were in the title run. Obviously, Saka missed a penalty at the end of last season, scored this season. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's really a statement win for Arsenal because one of the criticisms that people have thrown at them is that in the small games, like in against the big teams, they normally turn up well. They're
Mm.
prepared. Arteta is normally good at devising game plans for those in terms of little adjustments to make things better for his team. But in the small games, at times they slip up. But yeah, 6-0 win against West Ham is a statement victory. Goals left, right, and centre. What do you think, um, based on this result about Arsenal going forward?
Don't know, man. It seems like they're if you look at their recent form, they're getting back into it. They're
Mm,
getting back into it, I think. Oof. They just beat Liverpool like was it just a week ago? Was it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
A week or 2 weeks ago.
yeah. So not even that long ago. They just beat Liverpool as well. So I don't know. Momentum's definitely like going in their favor at the moment, but I don't know if they'll have enough. I don't know if they'll have enough to still carry on and push for the actual title. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like obviously they showed last season that they can. Last season I still do think they should have won the league, but it's like I don't know. I think this season I'm not sure if they go on and finish top two again. But I don't
mm,
know. I think a funnier or not funnier, but like a more interesting thing that I've kind of noticed is West Ham fans have been really onto their players and their manager recently. They're not
mm.
happy with the football. Um, since there, a lot of people are saying like, oh, like this is David Moyes, like he won us the Europa Conference League, like have some respect, whatever, whatever. Other people are saying like, bro, this football is not good. You got people really getting onto Aged. You got people getting onto a bunch of different players. I don't think Kudus had that good of a game from what I saw at the. Obviously, I didn't watch the
Mm.
full game, but I don't think Kudus had that good of a game. I don't know. It's a bit of a I wouldn't say crisis. I wouldn't go that far, but I don't know. It just feels like I haven't been keeping up exactly with all of West Ham's results, but from it feels like the recent ones haven't been too great for them. It feels like I don't know. It feels like it could. I'm not sure we will get to like Crystal Palace stage where it's like relegation battle. Or relegation battles on the way, so we have to make a change, like how they've done
Yeah,
with Roy Hodgson today. But I think I don't know. There's definitely that fear of it getting to that stage, definitely. But
yeah.
yeah, I didn't catch too much of the Arsenal West Ham game in total. I think when I around the time I stopped watching, I think it was like 2-0 or 3-0. So yeah, but Saka was from what I seen, Saka was having a bit of a bad day in front of goal, and then I think he scored a penalty, and then from there it just started
Yeah,
clicking. Everything just
yeah,
came into motion, and the team just going crazy. I seen Declan Rice had a really good game apparently.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, with West Ham it's an interesting one because obviously they beat Arsenal earlier in the season in December, but
yeah,
that's their last win. Since then, well, I mean it's been 9 goals conceded in a week for them, 6-0 to Arsenal and 3-0 against us. 9 goals without a reply, and then they drew 1-1 with Bournemouth, drew 2-2 with Sheffield United, lost to Bristol City in the World Cup in the World Cup in the FA Cup.
yeah.
Um, and yeah. I don't know. It's not been great for them recently, as in very recently. But if you look to kind of the back end of last year, they were doing quite well. Like they were on a good run of form. They were doing. I think they're doing pretty well in their Europa League group as well. Um, so I don't know if I can say it's a bit reactionary because I mean I'm not a West Ham fan, but I mean they're sitting in eighth joint on points with Newcastle.
Mm.
Um, Obviously it's been a bad week conceding 9 goals without a reply. But if you look at the next couple of fixtures, I don't know. I think that's kind of where I'd make more of a judgment on David Moyes. They've got Forest next, then Brentford, then
Yeah,
Everton, then Burnley, and you think those are games where they need to be getting probably I don't know. Yeah, you'd be looking at two wins out of those games for West Ham, to be honest. Um, so I think after that maybe you can have more of a judgment on Moyes as a whole. But I think in terms of his football, like that is kind of what you sign up for with David Moyes. Like it's gonna be solid, compact block, and you're gonna counter attack. And West Ham have been good on the counter attack this season. Obviously, the likes of Kudus when he's been in form,
mm.
Bowen, Paqueta when he's been in there. So I don't know. I feel like maybe it's just a bit of a rough patch, and I feel like they'll probably just carry on. They'll pick up a bit of form going forward. Um, but yeah, on Arsenal, yeah, Saka did have a really good game. I think he hit 50 goals for Arsenal
Yeah,
in that game, and I believe he's on 49 assists as well. He was on 49 going into the game, and he
yeah.
got 2 goals. So 51-49 now, which is a bit crazy considering like obviously he's still so young. Um, and yeah, what are your opinions on Saka though, as a winger in the current state of football? Because I mean, it's been a talking point this week. Obviously, I think it was Rio who said that he doesn't think Saka's a world class player. So what what are your kind of opinions on that?
Bro, I don't know. Like, in terms of world class, I've always thought Saka's world class. Like, I've thought Saka's world
Mm,
class for like the last 2 years. But
yeah,
I don't know. In terms of wingers, see, I used to have him first. I think
what
last
Alba
season
Salah?
I had him first. I thought he was the
Oh,
best
last season. Okay,
right winger in the world.
okay,
Um, but I don't know. I feel like this season he's gone down in my rankings. Like, I'm not sure. Probably only Salah, but I'm not even sure. I'm not even really a Salah fan, so I'm not sure. I'm not
mm,
sure if he's first or second, but yeah, to me he's still like up there for like one of the best. Like that's a like Saka's a really good winger. He's not really like he's not really as like agile as he used to be, or like before when he was younger, like he used to be like really like I don't know, he felt a bit like slimmer and like more like don't know what the word is,
mm,
but like just like fluid and like dynamic. He's
yeah,
not really that type of winger anymore. Like now he's a bit more like he has a lot of good core strength. Like he's a bit more like I don't know the right word to use, but it's like he's become a bit more of like he's not really a baby anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
he's
His
become
games,
like
his game's definitely matured. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. That's what I'd say. His game has matured, but yeah, now I think he's a proper winger. That's a winger. That's someone that I would have had at City, man. But obviously now we've got to keep it stepping and hope he doesn't win anything with Arsenal. But nah, I love
mm,
Saka, man. Saka's a great winger for me. I don't know the world class to me. The world class criticisms are just it's like they're not really based on anything because it's like
yeah,
they're saying like before they were saying Saka can't be world class because he hasn't done it in the Champions League. And then he went to the Champions League group stages and was like scoring goals like every week. And
yeah,
then now they're saying, oh, okay, he hasn't done it against the big teams in the Champions League knockouts. But when he goes to the Champions League knockouts this season and next season, he's gonna score like at least one goal. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
because he scores that single goal, does that
Is that
now
going to
mean that he's
change
world
the,
class? Like
the the definition of his quality for you? Yeah,
yeah, like it does. It to me, it doesn't make sense. Like he's been playing all these games for how long? Like him scoring one goal against I don't know, like Real Madrid in the Champions League knockouts. If he plays absolutely terrible in that game, that shouldn't then make him world class. Like he should be world class because everything he's done for like the last however many seasons. Like when we watch him play, you can see this is
yeah,
one of the best right wingers in the world. Do you know what I mean? It shouldn't be determined on him on him scoring against like a big side in a Champions League away game. Like that doesn't really make sense to me because a lot of players that we would call world class over the years have been in those situations and performed badly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I think the whole thing of Saka world class is just like it's just baseless. Like there's no real foundation for it. I just don't see the point in it.
Yeah, no, I'd have to agree to be fair. I think for me, I don't know, the whole world class discussion in terms of players is just I don't know because everybody has different definitions of world class. So it's like, okay, if Rio's definition of world class is a player who does it in the big moments in Champions League knockout stages, then yeah, I guess by his definition, Saka isn't world class because he hasn't done that yet, but he also hasn't had the opportunity to do that. I think for me, I'm just looking at the overall body of work and like his overall play in terms of the last couple of seasons. And for me, I feel like the only right winger that you could say has been better than Saka in world football probably over the last few seasons is Salah.
Mm.
So, and I'd have them as 1 and 2, and I think personally they're both world class. So yeah. But moving on, obviously City beat Everton 2-0. Haaland back on the score sheet
Oh
with two
boy.
goals. Yeah. What did you make on this performance? Because I know you weren't too pleased with the performance last week, even though Foden got the hat trick against Brentford. What did you make of the performance this week?
Bro, there's only one manager in the world that can do this, that can pull off this stuff, yeah. First of all, shout out to Foden. I got the Club World Cup jersey with
Yeah.
Foden on the back. But bro, there's only one manager that can see this absolute baller score a hat trick, right? Playing left centre mid and think, nah, next game you're going on the wing. You're going on the right touchline. It's insane to me. I don't know. It's actually insane to me. And one of my boys on Twitter mentioned to me, he said he thinks Pep views Foden on the wing as kind of like a pseudo sub in the way where it's like if things aren't going well, like let's say for example we're playing Grealish left wing, Bernardo left centre mid, KDB right centre mid, and then Foden right wing. Or let's say I don't know, let's play say Alvarez left centre mid for example, and then Foden right wing. He said like sometimes Pep views it as like a pseudo sub in the way of like you just get like he'll just send the instruction out and say Foden should go into the middle more. Maybe KDB should peel out a wider for him more often and give him a bit more freedom in the 10, or someone else should just find a way to get Foden a bit more into the middle. And that's sort of like a mini substitution to get us more effective. But then it's like to me, it's like, why would you even wait for that? Like why not just start him there and let
Yeah.
him play? Do you know what I mean? Because when he plays there, he's showing you every week like this is who he is. Do you know what I mean? He just scored a hat trick. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't see the point. But nah, Haaland, I'm glad he's back. He literally only got like those two chances in the whole game against Everton, and
What do you
those are the
need,
ones he
man?
scored. So fair enough to him in it. But I'm glad he's back firing now for us, man. I know you saw the way he dealt with Brantford, your boy Jared Brantford. Bro, he dealt
Yeah,
with
nah,
him.
wasn't looking good there. I'm not gonna lie, but he's young, man. He'll learn. He'll learn.
Nah, but he had a solid game. I can't lie, Brantford. He had a really
Yeah,
solid game. Um, when it was, I think from us, the setup was just a bit weird. Like we had Nunes and Alvarez playing as the tens and Foden right wing. Um, was it Doku left wing? I'm trying to remember. I think it was Doku left wing, but I don't know. It's just kind of the same sort of criticisms for like in terms of structure, it's just like the wrong players in wrong positions. And then when it comes to like actual players individually, it's the same criticisms. Like Doku, he's beating the man. I think at the start he was struggling to beat his man, but for most of the game he was just beating the man every single time. And then it's the final ball. When the final ball comes, then it's not accurate or it's not precise enough, or it's like he's I think Walcott mentioned it after one of Doku's games, where he played pretty well. I think Walcott mentioned it in the Sky Sports like post match thing, and he was saying that as a winger, you need to build a relationship with your striker, and
yeah,
it's hard to build a relationship with your striker or like your teammates that are going to be in the box if they don't know what you're going to do. Do you know what I mean? Because when Doku gets the ball, he always does the same move. He gets the ball, does the like biggest like fake shot ever into a ball roll, and then the defenders jump, and then he just goes like 1v1, slows down, And because Pep said it a few times, Doku's not that fast over like a long distance, like compared to like someone like Leroy Sané who could run down the line, or like
Yeah,
Sterling who you could send a long ball in behind for. Doku's
yeah,
not that type of guy. He's more like a short burst of acceleration or like explosiveness. And he always uses that same thing, like of going against defenders and just trying to get them to fall for the bait and then be explosive. And then after that, he doesn't, because it's so like it's such an erratic movement. You don't have the time really to slow it down and be so precise with your pass. Do you know what I mean? And naturally, he's not like a playmaker either. So it's like I don't know. It's a bit weird. It's a bit weird. It's something that will come with time, but it does get frustrating when that the players in the box are waiting. Like Haaland can't even like Haaland's got some of the best movement in the sport, and you can't really even tell like when the ball's gonna come. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
But yeah, same sort of criticisms. As for Alvarez, it's same criticism that it's been. It's just like receiving in the pockets is not his strong point, and when he gets the ball a lot, like his first touch isn't good enough, so it just becomes a bit. I don't know. As I said with Doku, it's just erratic. Like it's like he'll receive the ball and then maybe it's a loose touch, like basically every time in the pockets, and then Everton players try win that ball, then we have to try win that ball. It just becomes messy. Like
yeah,
it just it's not controlled enough. It's not calm enough. Do you know what I mean? Compared to someone like Foden in the pockets or someone like Bernardo Silva, for example. But yeah, overall, I'm just happy with the win. I'm really happy to win. Haaland scored two nice goals. Yeah, I'd say I'm happy with the win. As for Everton, tough man. It happens. It happens, isn't it? You just gotta
yeah,
affirm their one, man.
yeah, man. Hold that and move on. But yeah, moving on to Europe, I guess we'll stick with your boys and obviously a 3-1 win over Copenhagen in the first round of the Champions League. Um, Seemed comfy enough. They did have a bit of a hairy moment in the first half when Maatsen scored.
Yeah.
Great goal as well, by the way. But yeah, what did you make of that performance in Europe? I think was Foden back in the middle for this game, or was he wide again?
On
Wide
the
again.
wing, bro. On the wing. It's crazy. It's crazy. But what can I do? But yeah, no, it's this one was a bit weird. So obviously, Grealish started this game. He hasn't played in a while. I think Grealish's thing was he was injured, but then his house got robbed while his family were there. So he had to go there and obviously whatever. Like, and then after that, it was just a fitness thing. Like he hadn't played in a while, and he's just like he needs to get back up to speed. You know what I mean? And he needs to train better. And then Pep gave him the chance, and he was playing well actually. I think it was quite sad to see him come off injured. He had a groin injury, I'm pretty sure. Like he was playing really well. Every time he got the ball, positive actions like going at defenders, drifting inside. The link up is smooth. Like it felt like like this is our best City team with Grealish, Bernardo, KDB, and Foden. It feels like this is the team to go on like the long winning run and like win the Champions League again. And then he got injured. He just pulled up injured. It's like so it was really sad. And one thing that I noticed was that as soon as he came off, Doku came on, the game just started to get shaky. Like everything just got a bit
Mm,
nervy. The control was like gone. And then obviously the goal they scored came from an Edison mistake. Like it was clearly an Edison mistake. But in general, just leading up to that, from when Grealish came off, it just felt like the whole feeling around the game was just like now like it's a lot less controlled. Like it's easier to like I don't know. It just felt like there was a bit of a boost for the Copenhagen fans, I would say. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, from there, obviously KDB with a great finish. Can't complain too much. KDB and Foden link up is back on that side. That's one of the probably the only time when I'm okay with like having Foden on the wing is when KDB's next to him, because something with KDB is that he has like a really good like positional sense. Same for Bernardo Silva, where he won't always stay in the middle like someone like Mateus Nunes or Julian Alvarez, for example. Like he'll come out wide a lot and just be like Foden, like go into the pocket. Like he'll just be like, yeah, like I'm dragging my marker, go make the most of the
yeah.
space. Do you know what I mean? And he will do it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm okay with that because their link up's really good on that side anyway. So I'm okay with that. Um, but yeah, all in all, I don't know. It was just a bit. I don't know. It's kind of the same as the Everton game, but I guess it was more. De Bruyne didn't start the Everton game, and he started this game, so I guess you could see a bit more the difference. It's just like quality. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, yeah, no. Overall, I don't think we played that bad in the Copenhagen game like that. I think it was just more of don't know. It's just more like the same sort of issue, just with better players in certain positions.
yeah,
So certain things that could go one way went our way instead. So yeah, can't be too mad at that. As for Copenhagen, I think they had one really good. Don't know which position he plays, but he was playing right back for them. His name is like Yella. He was playing right
yeah.
back for them, and then he switched over to left back. He done really well in that game. So yeah, shout out to Yella, man. Solid defender, very solid defender. Yeah.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I got a question though, because obviously you talk a lot about um Grealish's influence and impact on the team in terms of adding that control. But of course, Pepper's signed Doku for a reason, obviously, to kind of be almost the opposite of Grealish and add the unpredictability in the type, someone who's capable of being their man one on one kind of
Mm.
over and over again. What do you think is like the best balance in terms of on the wings for that control and then that still that unpredictability, that ability to burst to the byline and pull the ball back. Like, do you feel? Because I feel like Grealish on the left and Doku on the right, when everyone's fit, could be the way forward. What do you think?
Probably Savio, because
Yeah,
Savio to me is like he's one thing with when it comes to dribbling, like when it comes to dribbling, like pure like manipulation, like Doku's not as good as other players, but he's really good at getting that separation. Do you know what I mean? When it comes to Savio, I feel like he's as good a dribbler. Like he's really good at like sizing up his defenders, going 1v1 against them, and then he doesn't have like the Grealish sort of control aspect to his game where he can like hold onto the ball with a man on his back like forever and just like drain pressure. But it feels like he has that sort of good decision making of he can calm things down. He knows when to keep the ball, when to go, when to stop, and then he also has the final product, which is something that I think we've been wanting. Like we've been wanting Grealish. Grealish has a very good playmaking, but we want him to do it more. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Want him to have Doku's sort of intent, if that makes sense, where he beats the man and tries to put a ball into the box. Grealish doesn't do that, and that's what I feel like Savio brings. Is that he has that sort of intent to want to go, but he also knows when not to go. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So I'd say that's the thing. As for like when it comes to signings, I thought for a while like I don't see why we signed Doku. Like I like Doku and I think he's a good player for us, and I wouldn't like sell him or anything. But when you look at purely on wingers, I think there are definitely wingers out here who are better fits than um Doku is for Pep or for Man City. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
someone like Bakayoko on the right wing, I think he's definitely a better fit for us. Someone like Elise is also, I'd say, is a better fit for us. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
Cole Palmer, another example. But I think it's more of like a long term view. Is that Doku over time, maybe next season or the season afterwards or season after that, can become someone who can also give us a bit of control, but at the same time give us a final product and beat his man for 1v1 and give us goals. Like I feel like it's more of like a long term sort of view when it comes to
yeah,
Doku. This is what like his ceiling is going to be way up here compared to the rest of the players we can get now. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's my view on the Doku Grealish sort of winger situation at the moment.
yeah. No, fair enough. Obviously, you mentioned Savio. Um, his boys Girona played over the weekend, top of the table clash against Real Madrid, and they got moved to. I'm not gonna lie, demolished 4-0 win. I think it was a goal and two assists for Vinny, goal for Bellingham, or two goals for Bellingham.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I know you watched this game. What did you make of it, man? 'Cause I know you've been a fan of Girona, so
Yeah, it was sad for me to see, man. Savio played horrible, man. Sad.
mm.
He just like I don't know. The lights were too bright. Not gonna lie. Like every time I see him get the ball, it was like, damn, man. Like he ain't ready for this, man. This is serious. And it's true because when you think about it, like he's literally 19. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
he's not like an old player. Like he's not been around. Like I'm pretty sure his last loan was I think PSV, and at PSV like he wasn't even like this good. Like there was still a bit of like questions about whether he's ever gonna be like a real like I don't think anyone ever thought he would be like a Man City player um come like 19. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, lights were too bright for him, man. It was sad. As for another City, well, he's an official City player. Jan Kuto is on loan to Girona. He had a horrible performance, absolutely horrible performance. I think at the end of the game, I'm pretty sure he was crying. Like it was bad.
Damn.
I think there's a stat where Vinny dribbled past him the most times that one player's ever been dribbled past in the Bernabeu since like years ago, like a long
Wow.
time ago. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's sad, man. But yeah, man, it's I don't know. I feel like it just becomes a quality thing. Like Vinny, great winger, like Bellingham. Like I don't know. To me, it's just like sometimes you can't like your Savios and your Miguel Gutierrez and Yan Couto and Artem
It's a
Dovbyk
mismatch.
and you know, I mean, yeah, it's a mismatch. Like these are
Mm.
nice players. Like they're giving you nice ideas. Like it's kind of like Brighton De Zerbi type thing. Like where Matoma and Estupino were giving us all of this stuff last season, but it's like when it comes down to the real nitty gritty, like the best players will show you they're the best players, and in the end, they did. Like there wasn't really an answer for Vinny. Like I don't know if you've seen the goals, but Vinny's goal was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah. Just
like there's nothing you can
cuts
do about this
inside
type of thing.
bangs like.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's only what it came down to in that game. You know, it's just a GG. Like you just got to accept your fate at that point, man.
Mm.
And I think this is kind of like a title decider in my opinion, unless there's like a massive
Yeah.
injury. To me, this is a title decider, and it seems like Madrid are gonna go away with it now and win the La Liga.
Yeah, fair enough. What did you make of the kind of dynamics of Real Madrid's front three? Obviously, Bellingham. I think now he's at 20 goals all comps this season. From midfield, or some people say he's playing up front, but from midfield.
Yeah,
Which I don't think anyone really expected when he moved from Borussia Dortmund, especially not this early in the season. Vinny obviously is continuing his amazing form. One of if not the best winger in the world for me, to be honest. And then Rodrigo on the right doing well as well. So yeah, what did you think of their dynamics going forward in attack?
it works. It's working right now, and I think I never like as much before when Jude was at Dortmund. I didn't really expect him. Like I didn't rate him that highly then, but I didn't expect him to take this jump up in terms of like his level anyway. Like I didn't think he was gonna
Yeah,
get this good at Real Madrid this quickly as well. I think that really shocked me. Like you've really now like he's playing that sort of like number 10 role, like second striker, just playing like in the hole basically, and he's really Ancelotti's sort of really like allowing him to flourish. Like he's giving him a good platform to really like highlight his his box movement, his decisiveness, like his goal scoring instincts. Like you're really seeing like how much of a good like midfielder he is. Because before at Dortmund, he was playing a lot deeper, so you wouldn't really see this sort of stuff too often. Like you could see it here and there, but it wasn't really a thing. But when you look at it, like his movement and stuff and like anticipation, like he's up there with like the best strikers ever. Like, do you know
yeah,
what I mean? Well, maybe best strikers ever is a stretch, but like if you look at the best strikers in the world, like Harry Kane, for example, like he gives you that sort of like even Karim Benzema was here how many seasons ago? He was just here like last season, and
yeah,
he wasn't like doing this 20 goals already. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, that I'd say I'm just scared for the future, man. Because bro, when that Mbappe hits, when that Mbappe center forward hits, oh, it's gonna be a long
Oh,
day, man. How can you compete with that with Jude behind them? That's ridiculous. Don't know what you're gonna do about that, man. Like that's how are you gonna stop them? I don't know how you can stop
mistake,
them.
man. Yeah, no, they. I mean, they look to be set, to be honest. Bellingham, Vinny, Rodrigo, they're all still young. Obviously, Mbappe potentially coming in. We'll talk about that a bit later on the show. And you've still got the likes of like Arda Güler and Endrick waiting in
Yeah,
the wings as well. Like they really are stacked on talent going forward. Obviously played in the Champions League as well this week. 1-0 win over Leipzig away from home. It was an interesting game. Of course, Bellingham's been injured. He got injured in the Girona game, I believe, out for around 2 to 3 weeks. So they had Brahim Diaz kind of fill in. And to be honest, whenever I've seen Brahim Diaz fill in this role when Bellingham's been out, whether it's due to injury or whatever early in the season, he's always done well. And I think again against Leipzig, he had a really good game. Obviously scored an amazing goal, kind of almost like David Silva-esque. I don't know if you've seen it, but
Yeah,
like
great finish.
received the ball under pressure, turned the guy, like rode a couple challenges and just whipped it. Like it was a brilliant goal. But I don't know. I wasn't really too impressed with Real Madrid in this game, though. To be honest, I mean, I think Brahim Diaz got the official man of the match, but Lunin, I think for me was definitely the man of the match. Like he made, I think it was the most saves a Real Madrid goalkeeper has made in the Champions League in since the Courtois game against Liverpool.
Yeah.
But I think discounting that, it's something ridiculous since like 2005 or something like that. Like they, yeah, like Leipzig really had them under pressure. But I mean, I don't know. Props to Lunin for doing well. I don't know. It was a weird one. I felt like Nacho was a bit uncomfortable at the back. He was a bit exposed at times. Um, Tchouaméni, I think to be fair, I think Tchouaméni was decent at centre back, kind of filling in, but again, obviously that's not his preferred role. Um, Carvajal was okay. I still think going forward, Real Madrid definitely need to upgrade on like a right back. Um, Carvajal's a bit old, and like he's a weird one. He has these performances every now and again, like in the Champions League in a big game, but he'll show up and he'll look like the old Carvajal. But then there are times when he kind of just looks a bit leggy. And I thought, yeah, he wasn't the greatest against Leipzig, but 1-0 win away from home, um, in the first leg of the Champions League, like it's setting them up in good stead to go and qualify. In the second leg, wrap it up at the Bernabeu, and Jude might be back for that game, I think, because it'll be in 2 weeks, so he might be back or he might be close. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's yeah, Real Madrid are definitely looking scary in the Champions League for sure. I'd say for me at this current time, they're probably my favorites to win it. I don't know what are you saying?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Actually, I'd probably say them. I think I don't see. I think the only thing that can like maybe hold them back is their defense because they've got a lot of injuries out.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think right now, I don't know. Don't see how we're holding them because Carl. It's not even like we can call on Carl Walker to do that job on Vinny again because he
he's
won't.
not the same
If he
player,
goes
bro.
against Vinny now, it's murder
Yeah.
scene. Like he will get
Neither of
cooked.
them are the same player, to be honest, from that showdown even
Yeah,
last year.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think so, man. I think it will be tough, very tough, man. Gosh. But yeah, I'd probably have them as the favorites than us at the moment.
Yeah, no, fair enough, fair enough. But yeah, carrying on our European tour, if you will. Another top of the table clash, this time in the Bundesliga. Leverkusen beat Bayern Munich 3-0.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. It interesting game for me. I thought, well, when I saw the lineups and I saw that Tuchel had gone with a three at the back to kind of match Leverkusen, I was a bit I was a bit surprised on one hand because I was like, well, I'm pretty sure that's the first time Bayern have played under Tuchel this season anyway. I'm pretty sure it's the first time they play three at the back. They normally run a 4-2-3-1. Um, but on the other hand, I was like, okay, Tuchel, from his time in the Premier League and obviously his experience in the Champions League, we know that he's a manager that will devise a game plan for certain opposition, and they would have probably trained this all week. And we're ready to kind of execute a plan in a very specific manner. But I don't know, watching the game, it just like Bayern didn't really know how to deal with Leverkusen at all. Like in terms of obviously they pressed them well, and they struggled to build up. But then defending Leverkusen's like rotations, particularly on the left hand side, like they really had trouble with that. Like Grimaldo obviously he started left wing back, but he would kind of invert and come inside, make runs into like the channels and the half spaces, and then Hincapi would overlap, and like drag out a defender, and then Grimaldo's in space. Like you see it for the second goal, when they kind of play through them. Grimaldo comes inside, Hincapi goes wide, and then I think it's Mazraoui, the right wing back, just goes over to Hincapi, and then there's loads of space between the right centre back and the right wing back. Grimaldo just walks in there, and then yeah, I mean his finishing is unreal. Like
Yeah,
all the goals he scores seem to be bangers. So yeah,
yeah,
he buried that one. But I don't know. I think it was an interesting game. It kind of for me it kind of highlighted like the gap between Leverkusen and Bayern, like in terms of tactically. Like it just felt like Xabi Alonso outclassed Tuchel and Bayern, to be honest. Like they were just better. And like Bayern were poor defensively, made a couple mistakes. The likes of like Upamecano had a couple moments where he gave up the ball, had to make a recovery challenge. And I don't know, it was just it was a bit disappointing from Bayern, to be honest. Like you look at their attackers, of course they've got Kane, they've got Sane, they've got Musiala, and like they weren't really in the game that much. I think Sane was probably the most threatening out of their attackers. Musiala, oftentimes I was seeing him drop, like having to drop very deep just to get onto the ball. And Leverkusen were quite organized in their block. Like they stopped Bayern from progressing through the middle, so there wasn't really much um for him to do. Um, in terms of when he was dropping deep and trying to go forward. So I don't know. It was an interesting game, but yeah, I feel like it was a poor performance from Bayern. I don't see really if they continue to play like this, I don't see how they're gonna make up ground on Leverkusen unless obviously Leverkusen bottle towards the end of the season. But yeah, I know you watched this game. What did you make of it?
I kind of just I could just echo just what you said. To be fair, like it's just domination. Like you could like it just didn't seem like anything was gonna happen from Bayern. To be honest, like
Yeah,
I don't know. Like you look at their formation, it's just like I'm pretty sure Eric Dyer started, didn't he?
yeah,
Yeah, I found that quite interesting that Eric Dyer started and like it seems like Delict's career at Bayern's basically finished. Like
mm,
I don't know. It seems like they never want to pick him. Like I don't know. It just feels like to me it's like kind of done. Um, Also, just wanted to highlight what you said about Musiala. I don't think it was a really good performance from him either. Same for Kane as well. I don't think he really played that well either. Um, and I don't know. I don't know if this is. I don't know. I can't really draw a conclusion straight away from this game, but it feels like there's not. It doesn't feel like the future is gonna be bright. Like even they just
mm,
played. Obviously, we'll get onto that later, but they just played and lost in the Champions League. Do you know what I mean? And now officially they've lost the same amount of games under Tuchel as they did under Nagelsmann, and Nagelsmann
yeah,
managed like 40 more games.
yeah.
So it's like I don't know. It's interesting to me. Like it doesn't feel like there's been much of a step in terms of like there hasn't been much progress since sacking Nagelsmann. I don't know. I don't know what that could mean for Tuchel. I don't see him getting sacked anytime soon. But I don't know. I don't know what that means from now on if they're kind of regressing, I guess, or stagnating essentially.
Yeah, no, I think it's a weird one, and I think it's highlighted by the manner of the victory, or the yeah, by the manner of Leverkusen's victory. Like they really did blow them out of the water, so you can kind of see the gap, and it's like Bayern. I think it's the last 11 Bundesligas they've won. They've had like a firm grip on the title for over a decade now, and I don't know. You look at the game, and it's just like even their like even guys like Kimmich and Müller who have been mainstays in the team, they were dropped for the game against Leverkusen. It's it's a weird one. I feel like they need to go through like a rebuild. Like they've still got a lot of players that have, and obviously the saying is if it's not broken, don't fix it. Do you know what I mean? And I guess for the past 11 seasons, like it's been fine. And of course they have rebuilt within that, but I'm just not sure if necessarily like this is the way to go kind of under Tuchel. I don't know. It just doesn't the way they play just doesn't fill me with confidence. So it doesn't I don't feel like they were gonna create anything in that game, to be honest, anything meaningful anyway. So I don't know. And yeah, you touched on the Lazio result. Obviously 1-0 loss in the first leg of the Champions League. Upamecano red card, giving away a penalty, and Immobile put it away. it's a I don't know, it's a bit of a precarious situation for Bayern at the moment. Obviously, Upamecano, another poor performance in a big Champions League game. What do you think of him? Because for me, Upa's a weird one, man. Because I want to like him. On paper, he's got the attributes to be an elite centre back. He's a strong defender. He's physical. He's quick. He's good on the ball. Um, like he's aggressive. Sometimes too aggressive, but he's aggressive. And then you'd say the only downside really is like his mobility. In terms of time to change direction at speed. But I feel like every time the lights are bright for that guy, he drops a stinker, man. What do you think of you?
Sad man. That's my boy, man. That's my boy, bro. He's one of the best centre backs in the world. But it's just like when it comes to Champions League, it's not even just lights are bright. It's Champions League specifically because
Mm,
when it was World Cup, he was starting for France and he was playing like out of his skin. But when it comes to
yeah.
Champions League knockouts, he's gonna be there just dropping stinkers. Like I don't know why. Like it doesn't make sense. It's so bad, man. He needs to get honestly, bring him to City and we'll get it out of him. Don't worry. We'll get rid of that bozo gene and we'll let him cook, man. Because honestly, it's so it doesn't make sense to me, man. Like I didn't even get to see. I didn't even want to see the red card. Like I didn't even want to see it. I just ignored it. But when I see people say Republic card instead of, I just said, nah, I don't want to see that, man, because he's so good. Like he has all the tools. Like he's one of the best on the ball. Like ball playing centre backs. He's one of the best in the world right now. He's really good in terms of like recovery pace. But I don't know. It just feels like every single time, like literally last season against PSG, when Mbappe was injured for the first leg. Mbappe played the second leg and got clamped up by Pamecano. And then the
Yeah.
following tie was against Man City, and then he just drops an absolutely stinker. Like it's like he doesn't help himself. I don't know, man. Like it's so it's really frustrating, man. Like he'll play good in Bundesliga, then he'll play good in some games, and then Champions League knockouts, he'll just throw it all away, just tarnish his whole reputation. It's like, bro, but nah, man, that's my boy, man. It's sad. It's sad to see, man. I hope he sorts it out soon, man. Because honestly, every single time, like literally every single time, he's making a mistake.
Yeah.
Honestly, um,
I don't know. I think. Oh, sorry, Karen.
nah, you can go ahead. I was gonna,
I was
yeah,
just gonna say, I feel like at that point, like it's just got to be a mental thing for him. I don't know because he does, as you said, he does have the tools to be an elite centre back, and at times, like he has stretches where he will be an elite centre back for a couple months, and then there'll just be that one performance on a Tuesday night or Wednesday night, and then just he kind of ruins the body of work that he's been building for himself. Um, but yeah, the other Champions League game, that night as well was PSG Sociedad 2-0 win for PSG Parc des Princes. What did you make of this game? If you call it Mbappe and Barcola on the
yeah.
score sheet.
I didn't think Mbappe was that good until the goal there. I don't know, man.
Mm.
I didn't think he was that good until the goal, but you know me. I do like to take my chances to hate on Mbappe. So maybe I'm being biased in it, but nah. I don't know. I think it kind of showed. I was a bit not sure what the right word is to use here. I'm not sure if disappointed is the right word, but it felt like Sociedad did quite well actually in the first half. Like it felt like
Mm.
PSG couldn't really get anything going like that. Like they had occasional moments with like Dembele producing magic and then the final action just wasn't there or like something like that. But I don't know. To me it felt like they did quite well. Like they were playing through them, they're winning the ball back, like they were doing what they needed to do. Do you know what I mean? Um
Yeah.
it just felt like they didn't really have that sort of final like quality, if that makes sense. So they didn't really have what they needed to do in the opposition box, and that's kind of what PSG had, which is why they won. You got Mbappe
Yeah.
at the back post. I'm pretty sure I think someone was marking Mbappe on set pieces, but he was injured for the goal, and then Mbappe scored
Oh
while he was
yeah.
injured.
Yeah.
Yeah, like things like that. Like I don't know. It just felt like to me like they didn't really have the final. It felt a bit like maybe not as much as a dominant performance, but kind of similar to Madrid Girona, where it's just like Sociedad have all like the right like procedures. they have the right tactics, like they're doing what they need to do. But when it comes to like just pure quality, they don't have an Mbappe. Do you know what I mean? Their best
Yeah,
player is probably Kubo, but it felt like in this game, like Kubo couldn't really. It felt like he just wasn't able to really get away from his man that much, and he wasn't
yeah,
really able to sort of have a proper impact on the game. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, that's really all I really got from the game. Like it wasn't really. I don't know. I wouldn't say I got anything crazy insightful from the game. I think it was just kind of standard. Like quality will beat wherever you
mm,
try to throw at it. Quality is gonna beat it. So yeah, that's what I got from it. What do you make of the game?
yeah. No, pretty similar to be fair. I thought, yeah, I agree with what you were saying about Sociedad, particularly in the first half. I thought they were quite impressive, and I think they did well to kind of get in at halftime at 0-0, and it was like, okay, maybe they could potentially nick something there. I thought Kubo was good in spells, like he would produce a bit of magic, and then maybe the final action was lacking a little bit, kind of similar to what you said about Dembele. Um, but I don't know, I couldn't see them getting a goal. Do you know what I mean? Like at
Yeah,
halftime, I was like, yeah, they did well to get in at halftime, but I couldn't see how they were going to create a goal. Just as you said, they were lacking the quality, and then I was also a bit. They were playing quite a high line, and I was just thinking high line Mbappe, like it doesn't end well, bro. Like even it could be the 89th minute. You've done well to hang on to the game. All he needs is that one chance. Someone slips him through, and he's 1-on-1. When your line's that high. But yeah, obviously PSG get the job done. Yeah, as you said, just more quality to be honest. Mbappe with a good finish at the back post. Barcola with a really nice goal. Happy for him. Ex Leon. The way he left the club was a bit disrespectful, but yeah, nah, happy that he's obviously doing well. I think he's a good player, good winger. Um, quite dynamic as well. So yeah, but obviously we've had a bomb dropped on us today, um, with the news that Kylian Mbappe is leaving PSG for the third summer in a row. He's leaving PSG, but this time we believe it's for real. So yeah, bro. I
uh,
don't know what are your thoughts, because I mean it's probably gonna be Real Madrid if he does actually leave. Let's say he's gonna leave. It's probably gonna be Real Madrid. What are your thoughts on Mbappe, his whole time at PSG, to be honest, and obviously the move to Real Madrid if it does happen.
I mean, it would be really funny if he went Saudi in it. That would just be really funny. I just want to throw that out there. If he went to like Al Nassr, went teamed up with Ronaldo, that'd be hilarious. Like I'd be an eternal fan. But I don't know. It does look like he's gonna go Madrid, and it's gonna be ruthless. Like it's just gonna be crazy. We've seen that they said they've sent a contract offer out, but it's lower than the one it was. I think the last 2 seasons,
Mm,
for obvious reasons. But yeah, no, I don't know. I think in terms of his time at PSG, I think he can pretty confidently look back and be like, yeah, like I'm PSG's best ever player in terms of
mm,
like what he's actually done in his time at the club. I think he can look back and be like, yeah, like I'm their best player. I think he's from Paris as well. Like I don't
yeah,
know. I mean, he can always look back and smile. I don't think he's gonna win the Champions League this season. But mm, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say that's something that he should be too worried about. Obviously, you'd want to win a Champions League, but I don't think it's something for him to be too much like looking back about, like, because they've had different managers, they've had some of the best players in history. Do you know what I mean? Like if it couldn't happen with Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar, I don't know if it could happen. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So yeah, no, I think you can look back on it with like a smile and be like, yeah, like there's obviously he came from Monaco, but like this club is like him, like Mbappe is PSG. Do you know what I mean? And then you can just move forward and go wherever he goes. If he's going Madrid, he can go in Madrid and compete for the Champions League, play with better players. I guess he can. Do you know what I mean? I feel like he doesn't really have to do a lot different. He just has to
yeah,
the same performances he's dropping in League One, just translate those over to Spain. Except now you've got a better team, and yeah, like he should be like, in theory it should be perfect. You know what I mean? I don't think there's
yeah.
anything It seems like a bit of a no-brainer to me personally. But what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think yeah, in terms of his time at PSG, yeah, he's definitely going to be looking back at it with a smile, especially after rinsing them of all their cash. 300 million euro deal. How can he not
Yeah,
smile?
it's
But
true.
yeah, no, of course, yeah, I think yeah, they won the Liga every year other than that one season where Lille beat them to it. Decent runs in the Champions League. Obviously got to the final. Neymar and Di Maria lost to Bayern, but even in the Champions League, like he's had big moments against Real Madrid, against hat trick against Barcelona at the Camp Nou. Like he's got a solid body of work at PSG that he can kind of look back on and say, like I did my best here. Do you know what I mean? And I guess now it's time to move on. And yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be scary if he joins Madrid, bro. But but where do you think he plays? Because I know obviously there was the whole, I think it was either last season or maybe the season before.
Mm.
Yeah, I think maybe last season where it was the whole um thing about his position, like he didn't want to play as the nine with Messi and Neymar either side of him, kind of allowed to do whatever they wanted to do. He wanted to have more of that attacking freedom. He didn't want to be the stand up there and be like a reference point type nine. Um, but I don't know. I kind of want him to join Real Madrid and just go full like R9 mode, to be honest. Like I want
Yeah.
him to like Vinny is one of the best left wingers in the world. Like there's I doubt that he's gonna be able to unless Vinny goes right wing, like Vinny's not gonna drop to the bench. Do you know what I mean? Like he has to play. He's gonna want to play left wing. He's there at the moment. He's their franchise player. You say, you know, what I mean, the face of well, maybe Bellingham now, to be fair. But over the last few seasons, Vinny, what he's built with Benzema and kind of the legacy for Real Madrid, by himself, scoring in the Champions League final against Liverpool. So I don't know. I feel like yeah, I want him to just go full R9 mode. You can go Vinny left wing, Mbappe up front, um, Rodrigo on the right. But I don't know. Ego could get in the way of that, and obviously it does depend on the manager as well. But yeah, what do you think?
Um, I think this season's kind of showed me that like it's not he doesn't really care too much about playing nine. Like it's just as long as he's not being treated like basically Haaland up front. Like he wants to as you said like that sort of like R9 role. Like he wants to be able to drop and touch the ball a lot and get a real feel for the game and stuff. Like he wants to
Yeah,
be basically like what Benzema was doing for Madrid. Like he wants to be that. So and he's doing it at the moment for PSG. He drifts a lot to the left, or sometimes he plays in a two up top on the left side. But I mean, yeah, like I don't see what can really stop them unless he really comes and says, "Nah, I want to play left wing by force." Then it will be a problem. But I don't see him doing it. Like I don't see why he'd do that anyway. Like playing centre forward with Vinny and Rodrigo and Bellingham behind you. Like I don't know. It just makes a lot of sense to me, man. And yeah, I think it's gonna be crazy, man. It's gonna be crazy, honestly. I don't know. Don't know. First of all, in La Liga, no one's competing with them in La Liga. Like if Barca managed to win the
mm,
league next season or something, that's crazy to me. But in the Champions League, it's long, man. It's long. I think it's long in Champions
Mbappe,
League.
Vinny, Rodrigo, Bellingham. It's
Yeah,
scary.
and then you have to deep. One of their midfielders isn't gonna start because Camavinga, Shuameni, and
Yeah.
Valverde,
Mm,
and then you have to play Bellingham as well. And then off the bench, they've got Guler and Diaz. Um,
mm,
they're looking to sign Davies as well, Alfonso Davies at left back. So
yeah.
he's another name. Like Militao centre back. Like how there's just so many players. Like literally,
Scary.
it's so the only positions that like are kind of like a weakness is probably right back. It's literally just
Yeah.
right back.
And they'll probably adjust that in the summer as well, to be honest.
Yeah, they'll probably buy like a right back who's not too expensive and yeah, crazy. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what's gonna happen with that club, man. That institution, man. We need to get rid of them. We need to get rid of them.
Bro, they're gonna have a hold on the Champions League for the foreseeable, to be honest, man. Those guys are all still young as well. So
Yeah, it's
yeah.
crazy.
But moving on, quickly before we round up, obviously, certain a final of a certain competition was played last Sunday.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, Ivory Coast 2, Nigeria 1. Ivory Coast champions of Africa for now. Um, yeah, bro. Yeah, it's disappointing. I'm not gonna lie, man. I think for me,
Ah,
I don't know, bro. It just kind of seemed written. The whole story, sacking your manager. How can you sack your manager midway through a tournament and you're going on the knockout stages? They beat Senegal, beat Mali, and both in dramatic fashion. Um, and then, bro, on the day, like that's the worst we've played all tournament. To be honest, I think yeah, the goal was our only shot on target the whole game. They didn't really seem like there was a plan, to be honest. Like the players kind of seemed a bit nervous, and it was just kind of hoof the ball forward. Hope Osimhen can chase it, win the second balls, and like go from there and try and hit him on the counter, and then defend for your life. Do you know what I mean? But we weren't really, we just weren't proactive, and you can't win a final if you're not going to be proactive at all. Do you know what I mean? Like we scored the first one, we went ahead, and we just didn't like there was no like upturn after that. Do you know what I mean? You always think, okay, you get a goal in the final, you're a bit more comfortable, the nerves should be off a bit, like you can start to play more. But it was just the same, just kind of playing within ourselves, defending more, getting deeper, closer to the goal. Um, and yeah, Ivory Coast, I can't lie, they deserve to win, man. Adingra was unbelievable that game. I think yeah, two assists from the corner, and then for Haller's goal to clinch it. He was cooking Aina the whole night, bro. It was rough. All Aina's been solid the whole tournament as well. Cooked like
uh,
a whole 90 minutes straight, bro. Yeah, man. I know you watched that game, bro. So
bro,
I'm gonna let you have your fun now. Do you know what I'm saying?
that's the best hate watch of my life, man. The in it boys, the in it boys were getting cooked. Oh my days! Like Ida, shout out to you, but bro, he got cooked. I seen him at the end of the game crying as well. I can't lie, I felt bad. He's actually a calm guy. Like I can't lie, he's actually a calm guy. But bro, it's peak, man. It's peak. Even I think the round before he skied his penalty, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I know he thought he bust case, but he came back, man. Nah, he came back. It's peak, honestly. There's not much else you can do though. I can't lie. Like what you just got. It's just how knockout football works, honestly. Because I'm pretty sure they only won one game in 90 minutes throughout their knockouts, Ivory Coast, and they
Yeah,
barely
and it was the
qualified as well.
final
Like
for
if
sure.
we didn't concede two late goals, they wouldn't have been here. They would have been out.
And we would have won. So
Yeah.
it's
So
actually on you guys. You didn't do your job.
so so literally that's just knockout football for you. Like it's so much luck and like things could just happen out of nowhere. Like who sacks their manager after the group stages? Like it doesn't make sense. It honestly doesn't make sense. But Ferris in their home country, the fans on their back. And they
Mm.
won in it, so fair enough. Shout out to them in it, but crazy, crazy. Cause I thought it was over when I seen you guys score first. I really thought it was over. I thought it was gonna be the worst day of my life, but they had something for me, man. Sebastian Halle had something for me, so fair enough, man. Shout out to him. Obviously, the battle with cancer and stuff. He's now AFCON champion. His whole country is gonna remember him as the guy who won it for them. So fairs, man. Shout out to him.
Yeah, nah, I have to. Of course, it hurts to lose, but have to give props to Ivory Coast. Incredible story, of course. Hosting it and looking like you're going out in the group stage to this crazy run throughout the knockouts to win it in your home country, in front of all the fans. Yeah, nah, great for them. But man, Nigeria will be back, man. Do you know what I mean? We got a decent group of young players. I still have a few reservations on the manager, but we'll see going forward. We'll give him the World Cup qualifiers, see what he's got for us, and then we'll talk soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all for this week's episode, guys. Thank you guys for listening, and until next week, we're out.